new project I just worked out, which I've been trying to get more into the cryptography of Bitcoin. So we did Taproot last time, where we talked about the latest upgrade to Bitcoin that happened just a couple weeks ago that added these Schnorr signatures that let multiple parties sign a transaction. And now we're going to do the previous upgrade to Bitcoin from about 4 years ago, the Lightning Network. And this is in fact pretty brilliant and super important. For example, consider El Salvador. El Salvador just switched to Bitcoin as their official currency, but the Bitcoin transaction fees are really high. So you can't do small purchases, and Bitcoin is really slow. It takes more than an hour to confirm a transaction. So you can't use Bitcoin for ordinary transactions like buying a cup of coffee. So how do you do it? You do it with off-chain transactions, and that's what the Lightning Network is. And the point of off-chain transactions is you have a secure way to do transactions among a group of people that are not on the blockchain. This is like, I thought of putting this in the project and realized it's kind of out of date, but I mean, back in the old days, there used to be something called cash, and there used to be something called stores. You would walk in and buy things face to face. There used to be the banks with these cards where you would withdraw the cash. Now, the cash I had left over from before the pandemic, I just ran out of it like 2 weeks ago. So nobody's done this in like 2 years, so you may have forgotten. There used to be a world where you would walk in stores and use this physical cash to buy stuff. And instead of like using a credit card everywhere, or Apple Pay, where every transaction went straight from the bank, you would first go to the bank just once a week or something and get a bunch of cash and then spend your cash everywhere. So the actual number of direct transactions with the bank would be small and rare, and you would have small transactions just using the cash from your wallet. This is the way things used to be like about 5 or 10 years ago. And that's what Lightning Network is. So you can install it on Linux here. You run this thing called LND, and it's listening on a port. That is the off-chain Lightning Network daemon running. And so you get a group of people that wish to engage in these transactions, and you withdraw some money from Bitcoin and put it in your Lightning Network. And then you spend it on this side chain, and then eventually you reconcile it by closing the Lightning channel, and then you have a single transaction to put it back on the blockchain. So you don't pay as many transaction fees, and you don't wait so many times for these slow Bitcoin exchanges. So you can make some nodes. So you make Alice's Lightning Network node, you make a directory for Alice to be in, and then you run the Lightning Network listening on this port 10,001 for her, and I'm running on a simulated Bitcoin network, which you ran locally, SimNet, so you don't have to wait for slow transactions. You'll see, the ensures security on Lightning Network itself. It is in fact very secure. It's quite clever. So what happens is every transaction on the Lightning Network is signed, and it's like those glow things we talked about before. It expires. So if something goes wrong, the money comes back to you. Yeah, there's summing up of signatures to go back on the main network, but the point is, in fact, I don't think I've added that to the description of this project, which would be helpful. Let me see if I've got it here, because it is quite clever. Yeah, the overview and developer guide, I think this will show you. Yeah, here's how the Lightning Network works. And the point is you feed in transactions, and the closing transaction closes the channel, and all these things are signed. And if anybody cheats, all the money just goes back to the original person. And there's a more detailed description here. To prevent an attack where Alice voids her payment by broadcasting this, there needs to be a way to revoke prior closing transactions, and here's how revocation works. So what happens is just like Glow. Remember when we talked about Glow a few weeks ago, you start a transaction, but if somebody cheats, just a period of time goes by, and then the money just goes back to the original person. And the Lightning Network works that way too. If anybody cheats, it's all just canceled and you go back to the initial state. And here's the link to the page that gives you the detailed chapter and verse of it. But it's really quite clever. And by the way, I first thought you could open multiple Lightning Network channels and spend the same money twice, but you can't. You have to fund a channel when you open it. So if I put 5 Bitcoins in this channel, I've locked those 5 Bitcoins. I can't spend them anywhere else until I close that channel. So it's like an escrow account. I can't take the same 5 and open a second channel. I can't spend them anywhere else until I'm done with this off-chain transaction and it comes back. It's really quite clever. Anyway, so you set this up in the project. You can see it go. So you make 3 people, Alice, Bob, and Charlie, all running Lightning networks. Yes, any individual can leave a channel, and then your part of it will get reconciled. And I think it might shut the whole thing down. I'm not quite sure about that. In this case, they all come from Alice, and then Alice closes the channel, and that reconciles it. But yes, either end can terminate a channel. And I guess when that happens, it closes all the connected ends of the channel too. That's certainly what happened here. So you launch 3 nodes that are all listening, and then Alice has a wallet, and then you fund Alice's wallet. First you calculate wallets, create wallets for all these people, and they all have these wallets with these seed phrases like you've seen before. And then you give them all Bitcoin addresses. So now they all have these Bitcoin addresses, which are kind of short, but there they are. They're in glorious base 58, how Bitcoin works. And now you're ready to go. They're all running Lightning networks, but nobody has funded anything yet. You don't have any money in there, so we need to have somebody fund in. So Alice is going to mine some Bitcoin in the simulated net to get some coins. So then Alice does a bunch of mining, and she has a balance now of this number of Satoshis, which is 15,000 Bitcoins. So now Alice has some money on the real blockchain, and Charlie mines to get some money on the real blockchain. And now we create the network. This is what opens the channel. You open a Lightning Network command line interface using administrative credentials. First you get info, which gives you the public key of Bob's public key on the Lightning Network. And then Alice opens a connection here with connect. Alice connects to Bob's public key on the Lightning Network. And now you can verify that by going list peers in the Lightning Network control panel, and now it shows Bob is a peer of Alice. So now there's a channel between the two of them. And at some point she puts money in, although I don't quite see that yet. Now I connect Bob to Charlie. Okay, so Alice is connected to Bob, and Bob is connected to Charlie. Now we set up the Lightning Network, and here's where we have to feed in some money. So Alice sets up the Lightning Network. Now these people are connected to each other on the Lightning Network, and she opens a channel to Bob with Bob's public key, and she puts in some money. So now this Bitcoin is locked and in the Lightning Network and cannot be used anywhere else until this channel is closed. So Alice puts her money in the Lightning Network, and now you have to do mining, of course, because nothing is final in Bitcoin until there are 5 blocks after it mined. So you have to mine 6 blocks so that transaction, removing money from Bitcoin and putting it into Lightning, will be valid. It's like a flash loan. We have to meet certain conditions with a single block transaction. I'm not sure. I don't think it involves doing something in a single block. It's just a single transaction. You're just moving it to a special wallet address is all it is from Bitcoin's point of view, I think. Anyway, so now you can see the channels. She has a channel open to Bob, and now you can send a single hop payment where she can send money from Alice to Bob. And that's simple enough. You just, the way it works is Bob has to create an invoice asking for some money, and then that creates this payment request number. Yeah, what is a flash loan? That's an interesting question. I don't think I know a flash loan on Bitcoin. Where you borrow money. Oh, I've heard it. You borrow money, you return it at the same time in the same block. I did read something about that. I forget what the point of that is. Anyway, so then you send the money, but Alice sends a request including that payment request, and then the money gets sent to Bob. And it shows you that it succeeded and how long it took and all that. Then you set up a Bob to Charlie channel. Bob sets up a channel with some money in it. And now Alice can send money to Charlie through Bob. Yeah. when you borrow loans to avoid collateral, yeah. I forget why you do that, but I have read that you do that. You borrow money and then return it back in the same block. I think it's similar to what banks do. In order to meet their reserve requirement, real banks will borrow money from each other at an extremely low rate called the reserve rate or something, because they don't really want to hold the money for more than a brief period of time. They just want to have it in their balance briefly. Anyway, so now you can send it through one person to another, and it will be moved along on the Lightning Network. And when you're done, you can close the channel, so Alice can close the channel. And when she does, that ends it, and then all the balances go back on the real blockchain. So anyway, that's the point. You can go through the steps and see how it works. And that's Lightning Network, which is what's running El Salvador now. And that's why I say, I used to be very down on cryptocurrency, and for the last month or so, I finally decided there's no point in hating it anymore. You might as well love it. Like the Dr. Strangelove, you might as well just love the bomb. It's here. And it's got a lot of brilliant math in it anyway. And this does work. This seems perfectly secure. It does seem to solve the problems of Bitcoin being used for money. So how much time do you think will need to elapse for us to know if it's working well? Well, I think that's the point. I think enough time has passed. I mean, Bitcoin has been here since 2008, and it's got $2 trillion in it and stuff. So people are using it. It's there. It might be unwise in the long run. Like I think credit cards are probably unwise in the long run. When I was a kid, credit cards were new, and they said now everybody's borrowing money. And the end result of credit cards is pretty terrible. In Germany, an average citizen saves like 3% of their wealth. So they have money in the bank to pay for hospital bills and things that happen. And Americans have a savings rate of 0 because they spend all their money on credit card fees, because they borrow money and spend money they don't have. And so when I was a kid in like 1965, my dad said people shouldn't be using credit cards. They shouldn't be borrowing money. You should just not buy something until you have enough money to pay for it. What's wrong with people? And you could argue that he is correct. But the fact is it's happening. And so cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin and Ethereum are out there, whether you like it or not. You might as well learn to love them. That's my current position anyway. I spent my time complaining about them and saying they shouldn't exist until I got tired of saying that. There's a lot of things that shouldn't be out there, but they are. Yeah, well, that's right. You're right. It's just bad money management. The fact is, it's just a tool, and if you're smart, you can use the tool correctly. So I now bought some Bitcoin. I'm accepting it as, and I think a modern investment portfolio should include some crypto. That's something I realized as I thought about it a few months ago. The fact is, crypto is going up and up. It's not going to go to 0. It's not going to die and crash. So it is just another thing to invest in. And logically, it's going up so fast that you probably should have some of your money in crypto. Although I wouldn't go down to the junk coins like Dogecoin and stuff. But that's your risk appetite. But I bought some Bitcoin because I think Bitcoin is really going to go up. Yeah, Corinne. When El Salvador made this move? No, El Salvador made this move just a couple months ago. Their new president declared that the whole country is going to switch to Bitcoin as their currency. And everyone got real upset, and so everybody's supposed to be using it. A lot of people aren't using it yet, but it's happening, and it's got to use the Lightning Network for everything, because you can't use real Bitcoin directly. Yeah, that's why certainly there are a whole lot of reasons to hate cryptocurrency. It wasted all the power, it used up all the GPUs, there are all these scams and shitcoins and stupid NFTs like Budweiser's NFT and everything. There are so many scams running on the cryptocurrency network that I, like a lot of people, had a horrible... But then I remembered, when I went to grad school in 1980, in the University of Illinois, they were just bringing out the internet. And people showed me the internet, which was this hardware device, the Mosaic web browser running on dedicated hardware. They said, look at this. I can make dates with women in other states and fly over there and have sex with random women. And I said, I will have nothing to do with this filth. And I did something else. When something is new, the usual application of it is something awful. That doesn't really mean it's useless. It's just the people that jump on it first are pretty much the criminals and scammers and people that are doing something disreputable, because they're the people that can't do what they want in the existing system, so they jump on the new thing. But so anyway, I think Bitcoin is, and now all the major banks and everybody financial is on Bitcoin. In fact, what we're waiting for in America is a Bitcoin investment fund that has real Bitcoin, called a spot market for a commodity. That is not legal in America yet. There are a dozen companies that want to do it and they can't get approval. But this week, Canada approved a spot market commodity market fund. So American retirement funds and investment accounts are investing in the Canadian fund. On the Canadian stock market, you can invest in Bitcoin. See, it just investments, individuals can invest in cryptocurrency now, but funds like retirement funds and stuff can't do it until it meets certain financial criteria and gets listed on the major markets. And there's no Bitcoin spot market in the U.S. stock exchange. It has not been able to get approval. What there is a futures trading, which is even more speculative. And so the point is, there's a whole bunch of institutional investors that can't invest until this gets cleared legally, and that is probably going to happen within a few months. All the big banks want to invest in Bitcoin, and so that's why I think Bitcoin is going to go up. I think people really like Bitcoin. It's going to be here, and all the big institutional investors are going to go in soon. So, yeah, Bitcoin futures have been around for a while, but futures are too speculative, and the main institutions, I think, are not allowed to invest in them. That's why you notice I'm beginning to listen to a lot of Bitcoin podcasts and get a little bit more interested in the financial markets and such. But this stuff is here to stay. So one thing about it is all of us that want to learn cryptography can find various jobs teaching people about this stuff. And, I like the cryptography. And along with it comes a little bit of sort of mind-boggling financial stuff, which I have a little bit of clue about. Yeah, but anyway, you can certainly, you could drive yourself insane betting. Like, this stuff goes up and down by like 5 and 10% in a single day. So you could drive yourself insane buying it at 1, selling it at 2, having $1 million at 3, and losing all your money by 4. So I'm just a hodler. I'm just going to buy some coins and let them sit there for years. Because I think in the long run it's going up. If you want to be a day trader, you'll drive yourself nuts no matter what you're trading. Anyway. Yeah, stable coins are another big issue. And they're probably going to be, don't lose the key. Yep, those are issues. Yep. All right, I think I'll stop this recording.